We got flagged once again.
Oh, no.
The YouTube police are out and about in full force. I did a seemingly innocent video about scalping. It was like secrets of scalping from a pro scalper type thing. I give people tips and tricks. I'm like, so when the Switch comes out and all hell breaks loose, here's how you can get one, right? It was like clickbaity to piss you off when you read the title, but then when you watch it, you're like, oh, well, I'm still, whatever. So YouTube had the same thought, and they just flagged it today, about 5 days after it came out, okay? Now, they don't tell you exactly what it was flagged for. And when it's flagged, if no one notices, it means it might as well be a dead video at that point. Like, they're not going to push it out. And depending on how they flag it, if they 18 and over it, you may not even see it if you go to our channel. Like, it just won't be there.
You have to have an account, be signed in and everything.
Mm-hmm. So they say, video's been flagged. It was one or multiples of these things. Video contains gruesome or disgusting imagery, graphic images, or accounts of physical trauma, which it didn't, unless I'm the one with all the trauma.
Where'd you put pictures of it?
There wasn't a single picture in the whole thing. Or
just your face.
Contains gratuitous portrays of bodily fluids or waste.
You can take a shit on the desk?
No, I think they're saying I'm a piece of shit for being a scalper.
That's just their politely way of doing it.
Or imagery that is likely to shock or scare. You see what I mean? It's just, it's
what
nonsense.
I got out of that is you did the show in the nude, you took a shit on the desk.
Well, I mean, it's nonsense. Like, sure, we talk a little graphically, but I mean, it wasn't, I was literally like, hey kids, here's how you can get a console, or you know what I mean? Parents, I was helping. I didn't come out here and like, you know what, fuck it. Like when the video we did a while back got flagged with 20 flags, I was like, yeah, I got pretty raw on that one. You know what I mean? I was like, okay, I get that one. But they're flagging every third video or so now. I don't know. It's pretty frustrating, though, because like I say, that video, I don't even think I cussed in it. You know what I mean? It wasn't like us sitting here having fun. It was just talking head, me talking to the camera about how people can score a Switch 2 when it drops and all the dirty scalpers get their hands on them,
Yeah, supposedly Nintendo is going to put a stop to all that.
Well, if you would have been here last week, we went into all of that.
Super.
But no, just in a 30-second nutshell, Nintendo thinks if they put enough stock out there won't be scalping. But the thing is, the scalpers are going to buy up all the stock, and even if it's a false demand, they're going to create the demand. You know what I mean? YouTube's out here acting like the actual police, and there's not many things I hate more than the police. I mean, ever since my very first interaction with the police, it's been nonsense. Like, I can remember, I was thinking about this last night. I can remember my very first time getting pulled over. Like, I was, 16-year-old me, 16-year-old Trav dog, just rolling around in this blue S10, right? And I may or may not have had some herb on me, right? But no. I had, it was a 2-door, but it had like the little windows for the back seat, and I would pop the door panel off, and inside there. Did you
have the back lowered?
No.
Okay, so you weren't a complete asshole.
No, I was trying to be. I put underglows on it, had like a giant hatchet man on the back, and all of this, but
real cool shit.
So there was now defunct police force called Jasco Metro.
Yeah.
And what that was Alba, Purcell, and Neck City, where they made it to where Orinoco cops could also patrol those three, or if a cop was off duty, he could put in, get an extra shift patrolling these cities that have never had cops and don't have cops now. It's great. It's freaking lawless. But I'm up here by the cemetery, and I get pulled over, right? And I reek of herb, just blue one, right? But everything was stashed away. I'm sure I threw it out or whatever. So this cop, I mean, well, let's just cut the nonsense. He flat out molested me. Like, I can remember we're standing in the graveyard amongst the dead. He's showing no respect for them, by the way. And he starts, well, why do you smell like... I'm like, I don't know. That ain't even my jacket.
It's the craziest thing.
He's like, you're wearing it. And I'm like, I know. You know, I was scared. I didn't know how to interact. I didn't know what to say or what, you know, it's my first time. He wasn't gentle now. At one point, he comes up to me and he goes, hey, buddy, I'm going to get a little personal with you. And I said, okay. And then he reached his hands down the front of my pants, moved around my little teeny twig, and got to feeling, he thought I had herb like stashed, you know, down there in my undies.
In the taint region.
Yeah, but I mean, back there, I was still wearing like Scooby-Doo underoos, you know, like... So yeah, he no glove, no nothing. He literally got a handful, and then eventually made me, you know, not made me. He let me leave. So I went home and told my parents, and they're like, "Well, we have a lawyer friend, so we're filing suit." So this starts a war that goes on for like 2 years between me and Jasco Metro. Because I got, you know, they couldn't get me on any of that, and we tried getting one of the officers, and they're like, "You came after ours, we're coming after you."
Right.
So, funny story is on that road that runs, what would it be? It would be east and west at the graveyard. They only had jurisdiction over one side of the road. It was a weird jurisdictional line thing. So my parents, who hated them, went and made these signs telling everyone that they didn't have they were pulling people over on both sides. So like up at the stores and everything, my parents were like putting up signs like, hey, don't let them lie to you. Here's a copy of like from the county. They don't have jurisdiction. So at one point, I'm driving in the lane. They don't have jurisdiction. And I am messed up, right? I'm probably 16, maybe. I think I'm still 16. And I wind up... I lose control of the vehicle. I don't know how, but just cut to, I'm driving, cut to, I have no control over the vehicle. So I thought, well, it's a pickup. I'm going into the ditch. It was a very deep ditch. I'm just going to ride it out and up, okay? What I didn't know is I went into the ditch with such force, I took out a fence post.
And you're driving an S10.
Yeah. So the fence post goes into my gas tank. And as I try to climb that ditch, it just slowly tips me over. So now I'm upside down. There's gas coming in the cab. And I can remember I was like, well, what do I need? I grabbed my CD case and I'm like, all right, I'm out of here. So
Priorities.
I start walking and the police pull up. And but I'm still on the side of the road they can't touch. So I'm like nanny nana boo boo, and like the paramedics show up and all of this stuff, and then they're trying to search me and my vehicle. And I'm like, nah, wrong side of the road, asshole. I don't remember what the point of that story was. But were you the same way? Like, did every interaction don't get me wrong, I was a freaking criminal. But, like, did every interaction, like, just go sideways Sally on you? Like...
No, not every.
No? You had some good ones?
Yeah.
I didn't have a single good one.
Well, there's one, we were watching WrestleMania, and I had a bunch of people over. And I had this dining room table that was going to shit. I had another one coming. Okay. Have a cake. Yeah. All this.
So who goes through the fucking table?
Brian. He lays on the table. Cody elbow drops him through it. Destroys it. It's about 500-pound a man. Throw the table just out in the front yard. So I can,
Okay.
Inside, I got this fucking 3-foot giant bong. Anyway, the police show up and whatnot and realize we're watching it. And they're like, yeah, you guys watching WrestleMania? And they're like, no, we're fucking living it. Anyway, they're dealing with shit outside, and my front door is just wide open, and I don't know they're out there. And I walk out with this big-ass bong in hand, and I fucking eye contact with an officer. And I just walk up and shut the door and go sit down and start hitting. It's like, well, I'm going to jail. And nothing happened. Like, they left. Like, nobody,
so they gave you
nobody came in and arrested me or anything.
They gave you a complete pass.
Yeah. They're just like, those rascals. And they start keeping it inside their yard.
I think every time, other people's residents, I've been able to, like, weasel out the back or something. But I think every time the police have came to my resident, I lived in handcuffs throughout my entire life. Like the last time it happened, you know, they pulled a straight scoundrel move where like they stood to the side of the door. They came, by the way, they came in through the woods. They parked their vehicles up at the road. They came in through the woods, and then they start knocking on the door. And I was expecting someone, and I open the door and I look around and they're flashlight. And then next thing I know, they're getting warrants. I'm in cuffs. My dad's in cuffs. And like, it just, oh man, it ended in felonies. But yeah, I don't know. I don't trust the police. I do not trust the YouTube. I don't trust any of them, man. I don't trust no one. I don't trust my doctors.
Check us back here next week on YouTube.
There's got to be a way to get around the censors, because it's this crazy like dichotomy. Because you got people who, like, we're not even that raw. Because I'm trying to watch my mouth, but like you got people like, I don't know, like your mom's house or something, for example. That's like, you know, they're not bad, but they're towing that line. But they don't need YouTube. You know, they don't need to be YouTube partner because they're big enough that their income comes from outside sponsors. You know what I'm saying? People who are like, you have enough views, we're just going to pay you to talk about Carhartt and how it's better than Jenkins jackets or whatever, you know? But yeah,
Jenkins.
So even what I'm trying to say is, since they get millions of views, even if YouTube does throttle them down, since people are directly going there and they don't need like the suggestions on the YouTube homepage, you see what I mean?
Yeah.
That doesn't matter at all. But it's almost like that old thing, like the rich get richer. It's like YouTube, so the popular get more popular. You know what I mean? But getting to that point when you're going against the grain, you know, I've always said, especially with like mixing music and stuff, and it's YouTube videos, the same rule. You give me like a wholesome family or videos, you know, circulated around a wholesome family or around children, and I'll make that channel famous in 90 days because you're not going to hit any of these roadblocks. So as long as, like in that case, it's cute, it's fun, it's family friendly, the audio's good, the video's good, boom, that's a cheat code. Or a hot girl who's not afraid to be a little whore on YouTube, of course. That's why I won't take no
Those are rare to find.
That's why I won't take no guff from these hoes. When they'll be like, well, how many subs you got? I'll be like, I don't even know what we got, just 6,000, 7,000. And they'll be like, well, I got 24,000. And I'm like, well, what do you do? I just stand with my titties out. That doesn't count. Your success has an asterisk next to it. You know what I'm saying? But don't get me wrong. One of the most powerful things on this planet is like a hot girl who's not afraid to show those tits in like her 20s, let's say. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to use the word young. You know what I mean when I say young, you know, you know, a girl in her 20s who's not afraid to be a hoe online or even in real life. I mean, that is about the most powerful that can take down CEOs. You know what I'm saying? That can break up the strongest families. That is power. What were we talking about?
It sure is.
The power of pussy.
Talking about the great and powerful YouTube.
Fucking YouTube. Yeah, I don't even know what to say about that. We need a cheat code, or we're going to need to tap in with some of these other YouTubers, some of these streamers, and
nobody likes us.
Well, what we really need to do is get set up, not to live stream, but with a live streaming setup where like we can do interviews. You know, we could have it pop up on the TV. Everything's recorded on both sides, but we're set up for recording audio. But we have all the gear, you know, we could set up to where we could actually be, you know, interaction with other creators or, you know, doing
influencers.
I want to do like prison interviews. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like you just got out the jam. Tell me about that. I don't know. We're here on YouTube. I love YouTube, but it's fucking the best. Hate YouTube. It's like eBay. It doesn't exist, but it exists. Like I can sell on eBay all day, but if I have a question to improve what I'm doing, they don't exist. But if I mess up, ooh,
You piece of shit.
they exist now and they become a problem for me. You know, like having to call to get YouTube strikes removed or, eBay defects. Nothing but strikes and defects. That'll be the name of my next record. Well, until I make it, I think we need to get the fuck out of here.